Yeah, so Todd Gurley's gotten a lot of offseason press here. Of course, he got cut by the Rams, was signed literally the next day by the Falcons, who had sent the aforementioned Devonta Freeman packing. And so he's a really polarizing player at this point, and really comes down to whether you believe how sustainable his knees are or not. As far as that injury goes, we know that he has a arthritic knees, and that's going to be the way they are forever and always. So how much do you think they're going to affect him? He did get signed to a 1-year, $5 million deal in Atlanta. And my hot take for Todd Gurley this year is that he will finish amongst the running back one ranks. He will be a top 12 running back in PPR leagues this year in Atlanta.
Yeah. Which means that he's got to beat out guys like Joe Mixon, Leonard Fournette, Chris Carson, Austin Eckler, Mark Ingram, Nick Chubb,
Josh Jacobs,
Miles Sanders, Kamara. There's a lot of guys who could finish in that RB1 conversation. And you think he's going to crack that top 12, huh?
I really think he's going to, because you just read a lot of fun names that fantasy players like a lot. Let me read you some names that they're not going to like very much. Brian Hill, Quadre Ollison, Kenyon Barner, Ito Smith.
Ito.
There's no one of relevance in the Falcons backfield. I don't know how they didn't bring another veteran in free agency. Lamar Miller's kind of been linked there. Maybe that'll still happen. They didn't draft a guy. I thought they would have been primed to like draft the heir apparent after Curly's. He's the dude. He's the only thing they have. And the rest of the offense is loaded. They traded for Hayden Hurst. Calvin Ridley's going to explode. It's an on year for Matt Ryan as far as like his oscillation between not being relevant and being MVP level. Yeah. So to me, they're all in. There's an arms race in the NFC South between Brady, Bridgewater, and Breeze being there with the other teams. I just think every one of those divisional matchups is just going to be a crazy shootout. So there's going to be lots of fantasy opportunity, but let me dig into the nitty gritty of Gurley here. A lot was made of his reduced usage in Los Angeles with the Rams last year. And I get it. They wanted to protect their future investment, but that's when he was signed for 4 years and $60 million. This is a 1-year, $5 million deal. The Falcons, I don't want to be crude about this, but they're going to run him into the ground. They're like, he's the guy. And they're going to use him this year because they need to win. And he probably wants to prove himself as still being one of the top running backs in the NFL still. So I think some stars are aligning here. Even though he had reduced usage last year, he still had a 72.4% opportunity share, which is catches plus carries, just how many times he got the ball, which was still number 9 at the running back position across the league. Yes, it was way less than his usage in 2018 when he was just a stud. That was in the high 80s, but he still got the ball more than all but 8 running backs in the league. Their line was garbage. We've made a lot of that between the Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson discussion over the past couple of weeks. The Falcons line was not great either, but it was better coming in at 24th, according to Pro Football Focus this past year. And they had a first-round pick that got injured. Their free agent signing, Carpenter, last year in free agency, he got hurt and missed some time. And their other rookie lineman last year was just wildly inconsistent. They used a 3rd-round pick on another lineman this year. They're bulking up their offensive line. They're basically getting another 1st-round pick this past year. He's going to come back and be healthy on their line. These guys are Chris Lindstrom and James Carpenter and Caleb McGarry are the linemen that they're getting back. So that's just going to spike his opportunity. Devonta Freeman still finished just fine. Not just fine. He was
RB2
level, not great as far as expectations go, though. But like I said, he's going to be the guy. All these guys got their shot last year. Ito got hurt. Brian Hill was going to take over for Devonta Freeman when he went down,
and he looked bad.
And he was terrible.
So bad.
That didn't work out. So last year, I mentioned the reduction in usage. Gurley had 59 receptions in 2018. Last year, it went down to 31 receptions. In Atlanta this past year, Devonta Freeman actually had 59 receptions, the same number as Todd Gurley in 2018. So if you take Freeman's receiving line and even just transplant it, replace it with Gurley's 31 for 207 line from 2019, he would have finished as RB7 last year. on the Rams in a worse situation, splitting carries with Darrell Henderson and Malcolm Brown, both of whom I think it's pretty easily said that they're better than any of those names that I read off in Atlanta. So he has no competition for touches. The Falcons have a faster pace of play than the Rams. Those other backs should only see the field when Gurley like truly needs a breather.
Yeah, it seems like what it comes down to is just, do you believe that Gurley's knees are healthy, and do you believe he's that much better than Freeman? Because Freeman has been kind of the long road down for a little while. Last year, only averaging 3.6 yards per carry. And as you mentioned, they have made some moves at their offensive line. And so hopefully Atlanta's offensive line and offense in general should look better this year. He only had 184 attempts last year. So I don't know. I do think it's a hot take to say he's going to end up in the top 12, but it's possible.